left foot is later. So, you know, it's a byproduct of really, you know, being pulled. Now, the shift, or if this mat was a force plate, we would see the shift into that right side actually happen before this even moves. That was just increasing intent.
Yeah, the last few swings, the launch has been up. The flight's been really nice.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So, Michael, we're halfway through the year-ish.
Okay.
Right? June?
Aye, June.
We're halfway through the year. We've played a bit of golf. Some are in the camp of quite happy with how it's going.
Yeah.
Quite happy, hitting it quite nice, things are going to plan. Others are in the camp of SOS.
Yes.
Call for help, panic.
Oh, man.
I think there's lots of people out there who are in that camp. Not saying I'm one of them, but I was texting with some friends over the weekend, and we were discussing some things around club head speed and how to sort of, where the low-hanging fruit is, because I do think that that's something that as the season goes on and you start playing a little bit more, you can kind of fall into habits on the golf course of just kind of swinging and you know, just playing golf and just kind of going through the motions a little bit. Yeah. When we all know, guys, that club head speed is the #1 marker between a mid or higher handicap golfer. That is the #1 correlation for what determines a player who shoots closer to par than one who shoots well above par. Yeah. It is club head speed. Other variables in there as well. Obviously, there's value to putting and how you chip and all that sort of stuff. But your club head speed is the #1 marker. So we want to go through a video with you guys today, looking at some of the keys. An interesting talking, I was telling you earlier on, I was messaging with some friends, and they basically all gave the exact same advice for people out there who want to swing faster, which I thought was great, because obviously if there's that much consistency, that's obviously what they see in the field. And again, we want to pass that along to you guys. We want to absorb it ourselves.
For sure.
We kind of fell off the bandwagon of the speed for various reasons, but you know, it's nice to do a little regroup on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, when we had our speed journey earlier in the winter, and I just got lazy, you too. But you see a little spike in speed. Yeah. I think at this time, now that you've played a bunch, like you said, you can kind of jump back on the bandwagon a bit and really see another little increase of speed, hopefully. That's what I hope to learn from this video.
Yeah, I would say my kind of falling off journey was around the time we done the bracket, and the amount of volume of drivers I was hitting during that time. I ended up just with such kind of problems with my neck, I just had to step away from swinging at that speed. You know, thankfully that's kind of behind me. But I think it's a good time to regroup, you know, gain a few yards, gain a little bit of speed, and while we're doing it, you know, have you guys come along with us and join us with that. So let's dive into some of the low-hanging fruit. Mikey, the idea today is to gain 5 miles an hour. Okay. That's the idea. Now, we've seen my club head speed recently in videos has been 111, 112. Yeah. So I think we can get it to 117 fairly comfortably here. Okay. Okay, so let's dive in there. Let's look through some of these principles, and let's see if you can help.
Let's do it. Okay, let's talk about the driver we're using for this test.
Why do you want to go there?
Well, I don't know, just people are gonna ask the question, so let's dive into it.
Okay, well, first tell the reason why I'm not using my driver.
For the first time in 6+ years of doing these videos, Ian left his clubs at home.
Left them at home.
I did that one time, I got yelled at.
My parents-in-law came into town on the weekend, emptied the car to get the cases in, popped the clubs in the garage. They're still there right now.
So we're back to Old Faithful. Well, an old flame. TSR3 and a Ventus Blue. Yep.
Demo off the wall. Yeah, so Mikey, let's start with some movement stuff, right? Okay. Depth of backswing, depth of turn. No, I mean, that's not something, you know, I would think, what do you do, what do I do? We're trying to pick up these things as well. I definitely could do with turning more. You turn pretty good. You actually you actually kind of probably almost go a little bit too far.
Too far, yeah.
And have to try and save it because you've actually over-rotated slightly. But in the bay, I see people who don't really make a great turn.
Yeah.
Right? So in order to facilitate that, I think, there's a little bit of trail hip, right-handed golfers, so right hip, what needs to work towards the target more, less away from the target. So obviously slide versus turn, right? So we want to kind of see the clothing start to ripple a little bit. If your clothing, is not, and you're just moving laterally, we're not going to do anything shifting our weight like that. But if we can get deep, we've got something then to create pressure against. So that's part A of turning more. Part B is lead foot, left foot for a right-handed golfer. So some people struggle with letting the left foot come up. I struggle with that. I really do. But I can get lighter on it. So, I'm okay if I kind of don't quite get up, but I need to feel like at the top of my backswing, can I lift that foot off the ground? Right, and not, make that big shift, right? So that's a part A and a part B. The backswing has to be bigger. Two ways of doing that: turn, don't slide, and obviously letting that left foot go a little bit.
Yeah, I play with a few guys, and I see when they're trying to pick up some speed, they get very almost around themselves, hands really low, and they think they're picking up speed that way. They get maybe handsy with it, and there's none of that full turn. The old saying, get that shoulder pointing to the ground or whatever it is. I saw a photo Corey Pavin actually the other day, and it's from, I don't know, your era, the 70s, and he's got that left foot right off the ground, and then his impact position, obviously was really good, but his backswing was so coiled and so high, it was impressive to see.
No. Just if he wasn't the same height as you, he actually would have gained some distance if he wasn't about 5'2". Okay, so there's our baseline drive, right? 110 club head speed. That's a kind of a out the gates drive. So let's say each sort of change we make, let's see if we can give ourselves 3-4 to see the impact, let them bed in a little bit. So working on some turn, little bit of right heel. Let's see what that gives us. Felt pretty good. Oh, Jesus.
Right away?
114. This is what happens to me all the time in the bay. I'll make one swing, that's my focus on a better turn. Immediately the speed goes up considerably. Okay.
Well, any of these changes, that first move you're making is kind of a bit of that stomping kind of motion, I guess, right?
Not yet. I'm not really thinking about what the lead side does in the downswing yet. This is just more backswing. All I'm thinking of right now, to be honest, is just a bigger turn.
Will any of that change path or anything like that with the club? Should you get more inside?
Generally, you'll get more into out. You'll get a little bit more up in the dynamic, more into out on the path. You'll get a bit more up on the angle of attack. You will probably get a little bit more efficiency by a higher rate of closure in the club head.
Yeah.
So, all those good things will probably come with you. Not a solid one yet, Mikey, but nice to see. So we're 4 miles an hour up on club, 6 up on ball, or 5 up on ball.
Yeah, really good.
Okay, what was that? 3 shots?
Yeah.
One more. Okay, 115. So I think it's important, Mikey, for everyone to know, and that's why we're doing this video, because everyone has low-hanging fruit. If I thought it was that easy in 4 swings to gain 5 miles an hour club head speed, why is that not in every single pre-round practice that I'm doing?
Yeah.
We know the math behind, if you gain X amount of club head speed, that means you're going to get 1.45 miles an hour of ball speed per one. So that's going to give us 7.5 miles of ball speed. Come on.
Yeah.
Meaningful.
Only because maybe I'm slow at the learning curve of this, but when you take the club away,
Yeah.
where are you moving your left foot? When are you moving your left foot?
Left foot is later. So, you know, it's a byproduct of really, you know, being pulled. Now, the shift of the weight, if this mat was a force plate, we would see the shift into that right side actually happen before this even moves.
Okay.
So lots of people think, you know, the club moves away. Our motion in that direction, you know, is going to lead the club's motion away. So, but in terms of lead foot, it's going to happen later, probably somewhere about here, because you've made such a deep turn. It's just, it's kind of facilitating the depth of hip turn that we're trying to get. So, yeah, right out the gates, Mikey, that's a pretty good 1A and 1B to get that club head speed a little higher, and really obviously think you guys can benefit too. The second thing I want to focus on for a lot of golfers, and this is a you thing for sure, is hand path, right? So if we look at your golf swing, you know, and we look at how kind of narrow that club gets, it collapses a little bit, that right elbow tends to kind of get, you know, a little bit narrow.
Looks a lot worse when you do it.
No,
I'm glad I can't see my own swing.
So when it looks like this.
Okay.
No. So we want to obviously get, I mean, we obviously talk about width.
Right. Okay.
Right? Well, that's been one of the initial ones. But, you know, we don't want to get it wide there and then collapse it. We actually want to get it wide there.
The top, yeah.
Right? Want to try and always use these guys for warming up. But, you know, one thing I'll always get is if you've got any bands, I'll just put that on the lead leg and make a swing, really trying to kind of get that high, right? The more distance we can create via that hand path, distance equals time. If we have more time to create speed, we will swing it faster. Yeah. Right? You know, if we're going to hit a little half shot, you can put the full force into a backswing that goes to there, and a full force into a backswing goes to there. Yeah. Oh, it's just obviously obvious switch.
The nice thing with that there, $15 for a band. That's it. You don't even need to be at the golf course. You do it in your bedroom. You could do it at the office. Do it at home. You do it wherever.
Absolutely.
Right? That's and you know, I don't know, do 10 of them a day.
And honestly, same with this.
Yeah.
Right? Wherever you are, just get comfortable with sort of the amount of turn, heel coming up, like in time. And I'm talking like days, not months. These are that easy to implement for everyone that it can make a big, big difference. So the second thing is we want to make sure those hands get as far away from us as we possibly can. Really get that stretch. Okay, so let's see if we can add part one, add part two. Let's see where we can get.
I think sometimes with certain things, like to get faster, people are afraid, I know I'm afraid, of losing consistency of strike. Although when we started the speed journey, probably November of last year, you know, even, you know, Cody was saying, like, he's like, you didn't strike it any worse when you're faster.
Honestly, you actually strike it better.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, okay.
And it's something and we'll get there at the end, but it's the last and easiest point of this whole thing will be around basically what you just said. But 168, 160, shot one. Yeah. This is, I think, what shot? That was shot 6.
6. Yeah.
We're 8 miles an hour ball speed up in those just few swings. You watch me practice, like, I never get it up as quickly this fast. No. You know, so even for me, like, these are great reminders of things that can get you into a really good spot with speed.
I'll say, for you to get into, like, you know, I've seen you obviously once, I've seen you 180. Yeah. But when you're, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, you're hitting balls at night and you're getting a 170 and you're huffing and puffing and you're swinging out of your shoes. But I mean, at 168, you look like you're cruising, although you are still doing the, you know, the two things we've talked about, hand path and kind of that extension. It doesn't look laboring or hard. Yeah, it doesn't look too forced, which is nice.
Well, the good thing at this point is I'm not consciously putting anything into the downswing yet. These are just all backswing keys.
Yeah, good point.
So really the force hasn't started being consciously input into the golf club just yet, which is even better. So that was a 116 miss hit.
It sounded quick.
116 miss hit. Okay, so 116 now, Mikey, is, we're starting to repeat that.
Mm-hmm.
Want to try and see if we can, and we'll get control of it in a second and get out of the low strikes and stuff like that. I'll worry about that in a minute. But we're putting in the speed to it. So you can see for me, hand path wasn't something that moved the needle too, which is good. The initial spike and obviously turn and depth, the backswing was a little bit more meaningful.
Right. Yeah.
So part 3 to this, and you could have led to it earlier on, is I think for a lot of people they don't really create that downswing force or sort of that ground force. So obviously, as we know, we can shift that way laterally. We can rotate fast, and we can do up. The more efficiently you do all 3 of those things together.
Right.
So we turn and we shift into the right side with actually a little bit of lift. And then in downswing, we obviously transition with a push down as we move laterally back. And then we're going to push up as we rotate. So it's that combination of those 3 things that can seem quite hard to coordinate. But the one thing people don't do enough, Mikey, is get into the lead side early enough in the backswing.
Yeah. Okay.
They leave it too late. And I'm guilty of that. That's primarily why I struggle with these low strikes. So, the minute you really feel like you're kind of in this journey of upward and around, by here, really, in order to influence, because this happens so fast, in order to get the weight moving into that lead side, you actually need to be consciously going there when the backswing's about here.
Right, okay.
And that's what creates that massive amount of surge in energy, that twist where you're kind of going that way, but the energy start to sort of, twist into the lower body on the downswing. And that's when we start to get a big, big power surge.
Oh.
Didn't quite catch that one, Mikey. A little bit different. Not bad, though. 167, 116. And this is where it can be, so maybe you'll do a few, and you go, I feel like I'm doing it, and you're just not doing it early enough.
Right, okay.
And then you'll do one, and then you'll get an extra couple miles an hour and go 118, pretty quickly. I think that's probably what we'll see in a second.
Sounded quick.
Yeah, it was quicker.
What's that, 118?
118.
Yeah. 171.
Yeah.
172 and 118. Sounded hit as well.
Yeah. It felt pretty good. Push a little more speed into it. So obviously we can see the next, we got to 114 with backswing. We got to 116 with hand path, and we're at 118 now with more sort of lead leg pressure or earlier lead leg pressure on the downswing. But one thing that's changed in the last 2 swings has been my intent as well. My intent to hit it harder has went up.
Right.
The first few swings are like you said, you look like you're cruising.
Yeah.
I kind of think, the way around, we have to manage our explosiveness in golf. You don't want to be explosive on a pitching wedge. You don't want to be explosive on a 7-iron. You do want to be explosive on a driver.
Totally.
You want that.
I'll say, like, obviously, it's nice to see that club head, go up, right?
Yeah.
And you're putting all your effort now into these swings. The ball speed difference from what we started with to what we're at now. If even if your ball speed could, cruise at that 168, 170 mark,
Totally.
that's just night and day different driving.
We've done it in a few swings as well.
Yeah.
Like I would not have thought we would have got it, honestly, this much. I kind of wrote as a title, before we even started. This one's like 5 miles an hour would be nice. I was thinking like it might go from 110, 111 to 116. We might see 117. I probably don't feel like we've really pushed the speed yet, but it's cool to see. I mean, 120 is definitely doable today.
Yeah, but also with these tips like the band and these moves,
Yeah.
like anyone can try this, right?
Yeah.
And obviously it's not going to take you, not everyone's going to get to 170, but if it increases everyone by 5 to 10 miles an hour, over time, I mean, it's a watch that handicap start to drop.
No doubt about it. Watch your buddies start to get jealous. Watch kind of what happens around you when people start going, how did he end up hitting it that far?
Yeah.
85 to 95, 90 to 100 miles an hour. All those are huge jumps, really meaningful jumps. So it's there for everyone. So I think we gave a little bit of a kind of, how to do it on each of them so far. The number one thing that I would say has helped me is the force pedals for the lead leg stuff. So, I'll kind of I use 2 force pedals. I use one for backswing. So to make sure I really feel like I'm loading into that trail leg, I put one under the right heel and I want my weight going into my right heel, stretched up and in there. And then obviously as I start down, I'm trying to really plant into the front of the left foot. So that gives me something as I rotate. So the next part of rotating, pushing up. People think that, Patrick Reed or the players who have that little bit of jump off of that lead leg, they think that that's something that they practice. They don't even know they do it.
They don't know they do it, yeah.
All it is them trying to push up and rotate in unison. So when they go sort of down and in rotation, it creates that force for the foot to pull away.
Yeah.
It's just the way the body's dragging the foot.
I mean, for different reasons. Scotty Scheffler doesn't practice his footwork.
That's
just homegrown. Exactly. That's how he's gotten to make his weight do whatever he needs it to do.
That's the forces that are going into the feet. You're 100% right. It's not something he's really consciously trying at all. Okay, let's get a couple more. Intent, Mikey.
Okay.
And earlier into that backswing. Did not get that timed well at all. But again, 118, and I didn't feel like I'd done it nearly well enough.
Yeah. Did the back foot move on you a little bit?
I'm not sure. Like it probably did. I'm probably creating more force than I'm used to. 119. And to be honest, that was a miss hit.
Was it?
I had it low in the head. And you can see how much, obviously it's great today to see the speed up.
Yeah.
But the launch conditions are so far away from being optimized.
Totally, yeah.
I'll go and harp on it, but if I had my driver today, the way it launches and spins, these would be probably flying 315, 320.
Okay. Yeah.
For sure. They'd be quite a bit further.
It sounded hit.
It's just a bit low in the head. It's just all a little bit low in the head. But that's just me needing to get more into that lead side.
Great swing.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I even like the flight off that one. I was still thinking old TSR3 for you in the bag. Nice and simple, ho hum.
19. We're going to get one more. Mikey, we're going to get 120 today. I haven't seen 120 in a long time.
Close?
Pretty good. It's close, yeah, very close.
Look at the launch off that thing. That was good. Spin up a bit.
Yeah. It's just doing what I've kind of struggled with this driver because it's a deeper face.
Yeah.
So when I get it there, it spins up a little bit.
Nothing a little hot milk can't fix.
Isn't it interesting though, as the sessions went on, how much straighter the drives have gotten?
Yeah.
Whatever we are, 17 drives in, 18 drives in, and all of a sudden, the speed's there, but the flight's very neutral.
Yeah.
Very, very neutral. Last one.
Okay, let's see it. 120.
We might get there, we might not. That was just increasing intent. Didn't quite get there. Good drive though.
Yeah, the last few swings, the launch has been up. The flight's been really nice.
All right, Michael. Shot number 1. Short and straight.
Yeah.
Not really short and straight, but good.
Yeah, 160
Obviously.
ball speed.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be Sunday morning, you'd be pretty ho-hum happy with it.
Pretty happy with it. Efficient, 110 club.
Yeah.
Happy with sort of what you're seeing. Tip number 1, Mikey, was bigger turn in the backswing.
Yeah.
Get that right hip for right-handed golf, or that trail hip moving actually towards the target. Don't want to think about it moving sort of away from the target. Get to the weight to the outside of your right foot.
Swing over, yeah.
Get that right glute, butt cheek, whatever you want to call it, towards the target. And in sort of conjunction to that, let that left heel go. Let yourself make that bigger turn. That was the first thing for me that really immediately,
night and day, yeah.
shot 1
Crazy.
to shot 2 was an additional 4 miles an hour. So nice to see. That was a good little lift initially. 165 ball came with that one. Number 2 was obviously stretching that hand path, the band.
Yeah.
Getting that hand path. Really, I mean, you want to feel like the band is your muscles.
Right, okay.
Like you're just trying to stretch them all. There's force to it. Like I even think about doing it and I'm gritting my teeth. Like, cause you want to create force. That's why I say like driving the golf ball is not a Sunday drive in the park.
Yeah.
You just never feel like it is. And if it is, you're doing it wrong. So ground force, obviously last but not least. So the 3 sort of stages of it right there. Club head speed, 114, 115, and then, we like a round up in here, so 118.5, 119. But quite big jumps when you consider we started at 110. Right? Ball speed, 160 up to 171. And then obviously towards the end, we're starting to see, the real fruits of the labor, especially very last drive.
I mean, for what we started with, to finish that session and you're, 10 miles an hour faster and you haven't really worked on really dialing in strike just yet. You're just working on speed. And the last few were great. The last few were strikes you would take all day.
Yeah.
But 10 miles an hour after, 30 minutes of drills that you can do at home, but obviously the best thing to do is go to a range and hit it as hard and swing it as hard as you can. But with these tips, to actually have some type of guidance, it was a quick 10 miles an hour.
Quick 10 miles an hour, and it's there. It's honestly there for all of you. It might actually even be higher because I do a bunch of these things. I have not a bad turn. I have not a bad sort of stretch of my hand path in the backswing. I'm maybe a little bit inefficient with how I land into the lead leg and push off that. That's probably one area that I could get, much, much better at. But I would make a safe guess. There's a lot of people out there that do none of those things all that well.
Totally. They haven't unlocked any of their extra potential.
Definitely. So the 3 tips with the 4th being hit it. Have the intent when you go to the driving range. I love the idea of doing 4 or 5 sets or 4 or 4 sets of 5, whichever you like. Hit 20 balls, whichever you like to do though. I quite like to do 5 sets of 4, where I literally just smash it.
Right.
And then, doing all these things, I don't care where it goes.
Right, yeah.
After I do my 20 golf ball drill, then I'll start hitting some and start picking out a target, but I'm still pushing the intent at that point, and you're way, way faster.
Yeah, I think that's key. Like, you're gonna go do this the first time outside, and you're gonna hit it places that you don't want to see on the range, but that's, who cares right now? Just do these drills to pick up some speed.
Definitely. Okay. Guys, hopefully there's enough in that for you in terms of advice that takes you into the next bracket of obviously, driving speed, whether that's you've lived in the 140s ball speed and now you can start accessing the mid 150s. You might honestly end up needing to go and address your equipment. Like clearly for me, that driver, Mikey, that's not going to be the best driver for me with that set of misses. I can guarantee you my own sim would have dealt with that a little bit better. It's why I moved out of a TSR3 into a sim, because the sim has a shallower face. And if I strike it a little lower in the head, it's much closer to the CG, so I don't get as much gearing from the strike. So, you know, if you need to, if you see the speed is up, but really your distance is not, kind of like mine there until the last one, go get fit.
Yeah.
Go and have a look and take a sort of have a session with your local club fitter and see if at the end of the day there's an add-on, there's a bolt-on to your added speed, which is the newly found launch and spin that even complements that further.
100%.
Good stuff. All right, guys, that's a little mid-season tip for you. Hopefully that helps a bunch of you out there. I'm certainly going to be taking it to the golf course. I know, Mikey, you know, we'll get back on
quick and simple.
Quick and simple. That's what it's all about. All right, stay tuned for more, guys. We'll see you again soon.